Hi, I'm Lisa K. Donner, along with Andrew Moran, Sarah Cowgill, Jeff Charles, and Scott Cosenza. And this is the Conservative 5, Liberty Nation's online TV news program. Hundreds of parents in Dearborn, Michigan recently flocked to a school board meeting to protest books in their children's schools that contain sexually explicit content. Normally, the activist media would portray the protesters as intolerant white supremacists. But there's one problem. These were Muslim parents. I guess we can file this story under reports the left would rather you do not see, which is why here at Liberty Nation, we just had to cover it. Jeff, this is an interesting piece for you to tackle this week, and you did. Tell us the details. And I will say it's quite a popular piece on our site.
Yeah, it's very interesting, but not surprising. I was waiting for a story like this to blow up because the progressives want you to think that it's just white Christians who are against a lot of this stuff that's going on in schools. Muslims aren't down with it either. I mean, and Muslims have been speaking out about this in the past, but this story blew up because of the size of the protests. And at their mosque, their imam was actually encouraging people to go to this protest. So they joined with Christians to come against a lot of this material that's being found in elementary schools, junior high schools that are accessible to kids. And in a lot of cases, teachers are actually teaching a lot of these issues and preaching this ideology related to gender identity, to sexuality. And it's completely inappropriate. And this is why this whole thing has been such an issue over the past 2 years. It's not going away. And if we see more Muslims and more even people of color, Christians, Muslim, or what have you, Black people aren't down with this stuff either. Nobody likes this, including people who vote Democrat. And the reason why the activist media won't cover it is because they're trying to still paint the picture that this isn't really an issue.
Sarah, you look at the politics of a lot of stuff. What are we looking at a possible serious voting bloc in the future, which is the Muslims and the Christians in the same kind of, against all this sexuality in schools?
Well, I'd like to think that would be on the horizon. But again, they're getting their news and their views from a lot of different sources that, aren't maybe conservative. Let's put it that way. So I don't see this as a coming together, but, politics make strange bedfellows. Perhaps this is going to be the one issue that brings a divided America, especially when it comes to Muslims and Christian folks, towards understanding one another a little better. I mean, you can't go around saying, well, those Muslim parents, they're just allowing their kids to be groomed. You can't say that anymore. So,
I can't imagine.
I think maybe the perception might be changed. That would be helpful.
And just a little tidbit here, in that county went over 90% for Biden. So this isn't even a political thing. I think most people know that Muslims in general, they have more traditional values, just like Christians do. They're not going to be okay with them trying to groom their kids and try to introduce this material. They're even more strident about it than a lot of Christians are.
The public schools were invented in this country to separate children from their families and the imposition of their family values on those children so that the state could impose its own values on those kids. It's acting perfectly as designed, and then later as a great jobs program and daycare program. Until we
rip this statement on that somewhere that
away from government and free it, we're always going to have these sorts of things. That's the answer. It's so clear to me.
Yep. Scott is 1,000% right on that.
Are you going to make the case for private school, Andrew, now?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, our kids are in private school and we just love it. You know what? We're not indoctrinated to this stuff. Because a few years ago in Ontario, Kathleen Wynne, she was the first lesbian premier of the province. And she overhauled the sex ed program and she introduced all these controversial subjects. And the media right away said, oh, these white conservatives are protesting. But if you went to the education meetings, if you went to these town halls, it was pretty diverse. You had a lot of Muslims, you had Chinese, you had Koreans, South Asians. So it was pretty diverse of the opposition to the whole sex ed. They got voted out. Conservatives came over. They overhauled the education system, but not the sex ed. They just focus on math and accounting, all that stuff. But it's funny too. The other day, I asked my wife, I remember when the left was so obsessed with Muslims. The Muslims were the victims. So now I'm thinking that after this scenario, on the whole victim pyramid, the Muslims are going to be really down near the bottom toward white males. So this thing is really the left is now at war with Islam.
Yeah,
have they dropped below the Native Americans now as the least amount of victims?
Well, as you say, politics make strange bedfellows. United for the common good? We'll have to see. No wonder the left is reeling. Thanks, panel. That's it for our Conservative 5 panel today. Check out our other C5 shows and segments on your favorite video platform, YouTube, Vimeo, Rumble. We're on them all. As well, Liberty Nation has its own Roku channel where you can see all of our TV productions. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, surf on over to libertynation.com. Special thanks to our fantastic editor and post coordinator, Frank Diorio, and our executive producer, Sarah Cowgill. I'm Lisa K. Donner, editor-in-chief. Thanks for joining us today. This has been a production of libertynation.com, where truth is making a comeback.